Guys, and we are here with my Minnesota Timberwolves off-season predictions. So before we start today's video, I'd love to heave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think are going to be the moves that the Minnesota Timberwolves make this off-season? What should they be? Why will they do them? And how will they do them? Let me hear those thoughts down below. Comment and subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. Let's get right into it. First off, you know me, being the Argentine, having a sister from Argentina and parents from Argentina. Hablo castellano, puedo hablar perfecto. Pero look, we're talking about Leandro Balmaro, the 23rd overall pick of the 2020 NBA draft. The Argentine wing spent the 2021 to 2022 season with the Iowa Wolves in the G League, averaging 13 points, 5.5 assists, 5 rebounds. And we're hoping that he's ready to make an impact because he's a secondary facilitator, like ball handler, and I think he's a perfect wing for us, okay? And I want to hear your thoughts. Do you guys think he should play? And I hope he gets a bunch of minutes. And look, we have the 19th pick as well as a second round pick in this year's NBA draft. And I expect us to either go for a wing slash forward along the lines of Tari Eason, or I had another prediction, Jeremy Sohan would be a phenomenal player for us to get as well. If we're looking for another big man, Mark Williams, Walker Kessler, those guys will be available there. I doubt Jalen Duren will be available there just off of just sheer, I think he'll go in the lottery and he'll just be out of reach for us. But a guy we could look at is like Usman, Dang, Tari Eason, even Ochai Abaji are great players, Blake Wesley, but I think more defensive guys would be good for us, or even a guard, Ty Washington, or, Kenny Chandler. I think it would be a little bit of a reach there, but those are guys that I predict us to be looking at. Or even my favorite is EJ Lindell. That guy's like Paul Millsap 2.0. I would love for us to get him. That's who I'm predicting, EJ Lindell. So now let's talk about the rest of the roster. So this is a team that we're on a positive trajectory. Okay, we're going up. And Sachin Gupta, he assumed the interim duties of president of basketball operations, but I expect him to be the full time. And also, he's the creator of the ESPN trade machine. And Gupta is prepared to navigate the Timberwolves through the summer, and it looks like he's going to be the permanent head of operations, even though they have yet to announce it. And Chris Finch hasn't announced his support for him. And the thing is Minnesota Timberwolves have most of the roster contractually intact. They have team options for Jalen Noel and undrafted free agent Naz Reid, who both will be brought back as their quality rotation caliber players. And the biggest free agent they have is Taurean Prince, who solidified himself as a floor spacing defensive player off the bench, but he really struggled in the playoffs. And then Josh Okogie, he averaged 10.5 minutes and was basically sitting on the bench for the rest of the year. Nathan Knight, McKinley Wright IV will enter restricted free agent with Josh Okogie, and Jake Layman's finally off the books. Greg Monroe, he's leaving. So the Wolves won't likely have salary cap to make a flashy signing, but what they will have is about a $10.2 million non-taxpayer exception, which they can break up. And the thing is, they can look at a guy, and I think they'll look for big men. If they don't, I don't think they should draft a big man. I think they should look at Derek Favors, Zubac, Thomas Bryant. I would love Thomas Bryant. Andre Drummond, okay, Isaiah Hartenstein. Big men. I predict them to go out there, get a big man, and spend half of that, and maybe then look at a guard, okay? I think a guard along the lines of, I know Tyus Jones might not want to come back. I mean, maybe he does want to come back, and the same thing with Ricky Rubio. I doubt those two guys would want to come back, but maybe they do. I think if we look at guys like Gary Payton II, PJ Tucker, okay, Chris Boucher, Victor Oladipo, or old guys we should be interested in, Dante DiVincenzo. I think are guys we should be looking at, defensive guys who can score. And I would personally think that's what the moves we should. Maybe get a veteran or two. That's not over the hill, but maybe he just turned 30, 31. Like a Kyle Anderson would be a great power forward for us to bring. I think if we're going to go in free agency, we should get the guys that we expect to make an immediate impact at a position we need, which is either center or another guard. Because if we are going to move on from D'Angelo Russell, which I kind of, unless Karl-Anthony Towns pitches for that not to happen, I expect us to move on from D'Angelo Russell and to trade for a bevy of assets to recoup the assets we traded him for. And in that case, I think guys like Cody Moore and Pat Connaughton, okay, Isaiah Hartenstein, Nick Batum, Thomas Bryant, okay, Otto Porter, Dante DiVincenzo, Bruce Brown, Victor Oladipo, Chris Boucher, two-way guys, Jashante, Gary Payton II, PJ Tucker, Guys who can play defense, even Nick Claxton, guys who can play defense and help us out on offense while playing, assuming they're going to continue being role players, which we obviously assume. So that's where I want to hear your thoughts if you guys are on the same page with me. And besides that, I think when we look at this, the Timberwolves don't need to rush anything. Anthony Edwards is only going into his third season, and Towns is the second oldest player on the roster at 26. So there's no turning back once a young roster makes the NBA playoffs. So Minnesota has to set postseason expectations as the minimum standard for next season. And with youth comes expected improvement each season. So we need to see them, get the depth behind this. If we're going to trade Russell, it's going to be McLaughlin and Beverly left. So let's get 2 more guards, that are defensive and pass first. Then let's get some wing players to help out. McDaniels, Balmaro, Edwards. And right now it's kind of like what we're looking at as our guard rotation. Our wing rotation. And I think if we can get more depth in those positions, it'll definitely help us. And another position I think where we'd benefit is power forward. We need more power forwards and a backup big man. I like Naz Reid, but maybe another one like a Thomas Bryant or a Zubac. So those are the predictions I think we'll make. And similarly in the draft, if we go for a big man in free agency, I expect us to